Welcome to Q&A with, a show where I focus on the role behind the person to give you some insight into how to operate in their world.
Hello, my name is Davo, and today we have
Geeta, semi-permanent makeup artist.
So could you explain to us what a semi-permanent artist is?
Yes, so a semi-permanent makeup artist, what this is it kind of includes cosmetic tattooing. There are 4 different procedures within this: lip blushing, ombre eyebrows, and eyeliner, alongside dark lip color correction. So out of these 4, what lip blush is it's the changing of the color of your lips, whether you want them brighter, more pink, more red. There are different kind of colors or shades that someone can choose. There is also dark lip neutralization, and what that is lightening the colors with regards to the kind of purple undertones of your lips. So whatever kind of color you have under your lips, whether they're blue, purple, or brown, it's kind of neutralizing that color using a yellow or orange pigment. We also have eyeliner, which is kind of like a thin line through the lash line, which will permanently stay there for 3 to 5 years. And then finally, there's ombre eyebrows. And what that is basically tattooing the eyebrow, but not kind of like a traditional block eyebrow that people kind of think of. It's more of like a natural effect to make your eyebrows fuller, thicker, and basically, yeah.
So just how in demand are these kind of services?
It is a growing demand, so I would say it is much bigger in places like America, Russia. It's really big. It's kind of growing in the UK at the moment. It has been around for 10, 15 years, but in the last, I'd say 3 to 4 years, a lot more people are into it. I feel like the aesthetic world is growing anyway, so a lot of people kind of do want natural changes to their face, so it's growing.
Okay, so it's it's an emerging industry in the UK.
Yeah, I believe so.
For you, who are the kind of clients that you see?
So I have a range of different clients, 90% women. I have a few men that come to lighten their lips. The majority of the people that I have do go for neutralization, which is the color correction of the lips. And it's mainly people who smoke, ex-smokers, people with more melanin in their skin, kind of like that. So I have a lot of women, I have a lot of mums coming to me. It is an 18 plus kind of situation, so I don't have anyone younger. But yeah, so it's mainly kind of women. I do have the odd man coming as well.
So it's not necessarily to change your appearance, it's really just to touch up and clear up certain areas.
Yeah, I would say it would be to enhance.
Okay.
So it would be just kind of like to make your eyebrows thicker or fuller, as opposed to, changing them drastically. The same with eyeliner. I believe it's just a line through the eye, but it's kind of like you're wearing eyeliner all the time, so it's really nice. I think the biggest thing is that you kind of wake up and your makeup is done, so it's kind of appealing in that sense.
So how long have you been a semi-permanent makeup artist for?
So I learned quite a while back. In terms of my actual business, I've had the business for about a year now. But it's taken me about 6 months to practice on different people, on different skin tones, on different clients, just to kind of understand different kind of skin tones. And yeah, so it's taken quite a while to get there.
I'm going to touch on the whole practicing element later on, but why did you choose to be a semi-permanent makeup artist? What was the appeal of it?
So in terms of tattooing, I've always been around tattooing. I've got a lot of family members who tattoo for some reason. That's kind of where people want to go. And then I kind of learnt about semi-permanent makeup through that. I think it's really nice to kind of help people grow their confidence. I think it's quite a natural change. It's not something where they're drastically changing features on their face, but I just think it's the confidence that really got me. So I think it's quite nice to kind of help people in that sense.
That's fair. So you mentioned you've been around, I guess, the tattoo industry beforehand. So then how did you get into the world? Was it through your connections?
Yeah, so I learnt about it through connections. So I know that my sister, for example, she does tattooing, and I've got a business partner who also tattoos, and that's where I learnt from it. We were kind of researching, and then I kind of realised that this is a really big thing, mainly in Essex. It's huge in Essex. So I realised that there's not actually a lot around where I perform my kind of business. So that's actually the reason I started where I am now.
And what area is that?
I would say it's so okay. So I'm in West London. I think when I look for lip blushing, there's quite a lot. Whereas with neutralization, so the dark lip correction, there happens to be kind of a miss. Like there's not a lot going on with neutralization around where I'm based.
You mentioned earlier about practicing. So I take it you was on a apprenticeship course or internship, or did you start on simpler procedures and shadow someone? Talk me through that.
Okay, so from the beginning, I did do a course. It is a mandatory course that you have to go on if you would like to kind of be a semi-permanent makeup artist. It's a course that will teach you about the health and safety. It will teach you about kind of all the risks of the business, hygiene in terms of waste disposal and the needles disposal kind of thing. So that's a very important kind of place to start. You also kind of learn with live models, so you've got to bring some people in who are willing to let you draw on their face without kind of having
Yeah.
qualification. So that's all before the qualification. You then get your qualification. So that's like the main one that you have to have. And then after that, all the other trainings that you do are kind of masterclasses for your own need. So I've been on loads of different neutralization courses because it's slightly different to how you perform lip blush.
You mentioned qualifications, but what exactly are they? Are they university degrees, or what are they?
So they're classes. So it's like a 1 or 2 week class that you would do. You kind of find them in London, you find them in Essex. They're all online. So you can type in micropigmentation course or semi-permanent makeup courses, and you'll see what comes up. They vary, so some of them will teach you more about the lip blushing side, some of them focus more on the ombre eyebrow side. So it's kind of finding the balance of what you want to learn and where you want to go with it.
So, just reflecting on all the treatments, and you did say you own a business. So how do you determine the fee structure and the pricing of the services you provide?
So originally when I was training and I just started, my fees did start quite cheap. So it was £90 for either one of these procedures. It's kind of slowly inclined as I've got more customers. So it went up to maybe 120, 150, and now I'm on 185. So in terms of the eyebrows and the lip blush, I do charge £185 for the first session. There always needs to be a top up, which is £90. Neutralization is a specialized treatment, so I do charge £200 for the first session, and then the top up is £100. But as my followers know, I do a lot of offers. So every so often there's like, a free top up or £100 for this session. Like it's always kind of discounted once in a while.
Okay, that's fair. And I guess it also helps with your social media engagement as well.
Yeah, definitely. My business mainly runs with social media, on social media, and in terms of with followers and kind of word of mouth, and it has got me a long way. It's got me to a place where I am now full time. So yeah, I would never underestimate the power of social media.
Are you able to, I guess, list or explain some of the tools and equipment or even the software you use to go ahead and treat clients?
Yeah, of course. So I have a tattoo gun. So that's basically the main thing that you need. They can be quite expensive, but they do range from literally £100 to like £1,000. I need
£1,000.
Yeah, no, it's mad out here. And then you need the needles. So that also you get from the same kind of tattoo website. You then kind of need all your pigments. They're quite expensive, but in terms of when you have the clients, it kind of works, right? You've got to have your numbing cream, you've got to have numbing gel, two different things, but they're both needed in this. Just because, some people are very kind of worried about having a needle on the lips. So a really good numbing cream is important. Yeah, so those are the main things, and then it's just the little kind of things that you need on the side, the pigment cups and things like that. Just it all adds up. So the main things are the tattoo gun, the needles, and the pigments.
So, talk me through it. If I was on your social media page, said, "Oh, that looks interesting," out my lips done too, or whatever, or eyebrows.
Okay.
So how does it work? Do I send a message? Is there some sort of consultation? Talk me through the process.
So because I do get a lot of messages through DM on Instagram, through direct messages, I kind of then just do the consultation there where they send me a picture of their lips and I'm able to assess the hues in their lips. So again, the undertones of the lips, whether they have a cool tone or a warm tone and what to then use. And from that, I'm able to put them in myself, and I find that a lot more kind of personal. I find it a lot more like engaging. I speak to the customer beforehand. We have the consultation, and if they have any kind of changes with their appointments, they kind of come to me rather than a booking system, which I still think is very strong in this industry, and it really does have its positives. But I think for me, where I am, I'm happy to kind of speak to customers as they come via DM.
Okay, so more of a personal. So there's training to, I guess, go into further specialisms.
Yeah.
But what about refreshers? Do you need to take refresher courses or refresher training?
You don't have to as a semi-permanent makeup artist, but you do. People do. It's so important to kind of have that refresher of knowing what you need to do, what you're doing wrong, what you need to change. I think it's so important, even if it's once every 6 months, even if it's once a year, even if you're even more specialized. I just think it's very important. You learn techniques through different people. Everyone does something different. There are little tips and tricks that are so useful that you learn from someone to a different person. So I would always say do a refresher.
You mentioned earlier that some clients they get nervous sometimes.
Yeah.
So then I guess it's a two-part question. Do you have customers or clients sign a waiver? And when a client is nervous or scared, how do you calm them?
Yeah, okay. So I do get my clients to sign a waiver. It's more like a medical form as well, just knowing about their kind of history, their allergies, just things like that, which is really important in this business. You're working on someone's face. You've got to know everything that's going on. So they sign that. I do send it to them beforehand via Instagram, just so that they know if there's anything that they, that they
Are uncomfortable with,
are
basically.
uncomfortable with. Yeah. So that's one thing. And then in terms of when they are uncomfortable in the studio, I do talk them through the numbing process. I'm very confident with my kind of numbing creams and what I use, just based on the fact that I think if I've had like 100 clients, say, I think maybe like 2 or 3 of them have felt the pain. So I'm very confident in being able to ease my clients. I start very slow. I tell them exactly what I'm doing. I tell them where I'm using the numbing cream. We leave the numbing cream on for like 15 minutes at the beginning, just in case, if they're really stressed out and they want that kind of extra time. So yeah.
Okay. What you do, you being a semi-permanent makeup artist is as a business. It's not self-employed.
It's business, yeah.
So I take it as a business, then you have a studio or surgery. Do all clients come to your studio for your services, or do you do home visits?
Okay, so yeah, I don't do home visits. They come to my studio, which is based in West London, Northwest London. I don't do home visits only because it kind of runs into hygiene for me. So I think it's really important to know that there will be blood splattering, when you're doing the procedures. and you don't really want to risk that. I mean, me personally, I would never kind of go mobile. I think it's important to have it in a very kind of in a place that's safe, in a place that can be cleaned completely professionally, as opposed to maybe going to their house and then with risks that could be.
So, as a business, what are the things you need to be aware of, like business rates, rent?
Yeah, so rent is a big one. It's quite difficult in my area to find a studio that's feasible, so it's kind of good to pair up with other people that you know. So I'm very lucky that I've got people, tattoo artists that I can also pair up with. Rent is a big one, and then it kind of comes about the business stock. That's a huge one that you've got to take into consideration. The more clients you get, the higher your stock prices will be. Then it comes to, for example, the promotion or the advertising. When you want more customers, that price will go up. So there are things like that that you have to really kind of take into consideration. And the prices are high. They can be high.
So, out of all the treatments you offer, what is the most requested?
My most popular procedure is dark lip neutralization. I get that every day. I'm always booked out with neutralization, and I think this really links into the growing demand of semi-permanent makeup. I think it's something that people don't know about, and then when they learn about it, that's what is kind of booked in. Whereas with lip blushing and eyebrows and even eyeliner, that's kind of been going on. It's known. It's more known in the UK. So there are other places. There are loads of areas that do it. Whereas with neutralization, I feel like it's such a growing thing, and people are really getting into it now. So it's my most popular.
So, it being semi-permanent makeup, how long exactly do they actually last?
So with the correct aftercare, so when I give them the aftercare gel that they have to use for 10 days after the procedure, looking after how you eat, how you're drinking after, and then just basically overall kind of looking after them in terms of maybe lessening the smoking and things like that. They can last between 3 to 5 years. You'll need an annual top up just because the colour starts to fade after a year. And yeah, it does last a very long time, depending on kind of skin and how your skin works with it. It's between 3 to 5 years.
So, besides the aftercare, when it comes to the treatment itself, are all your treatments done in one sitting, or is it through a period of time?
So we have the first session, which is the color, the color or the eyebrows, whatever it is, and then there is a 6 to 8 week top up session for the lip blush and the eyebrows. Whereas with the neutralization, it's a 10 to 12 week top up. So there is a top up that is needed, and that's kind of to like lock the pigment in to see how the lips have healed after the first session. It's really important to kind of wait for that healing process and then to do it one more time just to kind of lock that in.
Oh, got it. So, what skills do you need to be a successful permanent makeup artist?
I think one of the most important things is the communication. It is the customer service. I think it's really important to kind of have a face to your business. I feel like in the past when I've kind of reached out to people just for kind of my own training or things like that, I feel like when it's a very robotic kind of when do you want to be booked in, I kind of get a very cold feeling from that. So I feel like it's very important to be chatty, especially when the work is going on. It's great. You hear loads of things at the studio, so it's great having chats. I think it's also very important to be patient. It can be a 3.5 hour long procedure at points, and with that, you really are patiently waiting for that pigment to go into the lip. You really are stretching at an angle, and you go over that many times. There's about 5 to 6 passes, which means 5 to 6 goes on the top lip and the bottom lip. So it can take time, and you need that patient. You can't stop in the middle and say, yeah, it looks like it's done. It will not be done. So it's the patience is a massive one.
Okay, so before we wrap up, the last question. What song would you like to include in our playlist?
Well, I really wanted to do My Humps by Black Eyed Peas, but my friend said that I'd get dissed if I chose that. So I'm going to just go for like a really chilled out Bruno Mars song. You know, I'm going to leave the door open.
No singing, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the choice.
Let's do that one again.
Yeah, no singing. I might have to put that one in.
My name's Geeta. I'm a semi-permanent makeup artist, and you've been watching Osani TV.
If you've enjoyed this video, please do comment, like, share, and subscribe.